everybody. Welcome to Crochet, a Canadian podcast. I'm your hostess, Claudia. Welcome to my inaugural episode of this podcast. It is going to be about crochet, a little bit about me, a little bit about things that are going on, and I'm going to share with you patterns that I found that I liked, or yarn, or whatever. So let's buckle up and get in. I will be releasing these on Wednesdays so that I can participate in Work in Progress Wednesday, because why not? That's what Wednesdays are great for. So here we go. What am I working on? We will start with that. So I'm the kind of crocheter that I don't use patterns very often. Usually I see something and I'm like, oh, I can make that. So I do. So I found a picture recently of this cute little dress. I think if you search Mori Girl on Pinterest, you'll be able to find it, but I will link it in the comments below. And I was like, hey, you know what? That looks like, it just looks like a long shirt, which I've made tons of shirts before. So I decided to do that. This is the first time, though, I have used a circular yoke. And so you're supposed to wear this over top of a shirt and then a skirt or something like that. Or I guess you could even wear it over a dress or something. But the top is an open weave, and I used a zigzag or a V-stitch, I think is what it's called, to get the zigzag effect, which is a little bit hard to see. Hopefully it'll focus. And this is a sock yarn from Michaels, and I don't have the label with me. I will link it in the description box below because I will have it then. So what I did is I needed some kind of, oops, I don't want my hook to run away. I needed some kind of sort of open weave lace adjacent stitch. This isn't exactly what the top looked like by any stretch of the imagination, but I couldn't figure out from the pictures what kind of stitching there was, and I spent a really long time with swatches making up stuff, and I ended up just really liking how this looked, so I just went with the V-stitch up until this part here, which goes to about here, like just under like my mid-rib cage, I guess. And I did a treble crochet there. All of these terms will be in US friendly because that's how I learned. I don't know what a treble crochet in the UK terms are. I'll have to look that up. And then after that, so that part, I have to create an I-cord to go through there because it ties and it has like a long tie underneath. And then the skirt portion of this, it has like a very gentle outward go. What is it called? An outward positive fit or whatever. It's something like that. I forget. Anyway, I just keep trying this on and I make adjustments as I go. That's how I make things. So this is a double crochet, and I stitch 10, then I chain, and then I continue with 10 to give it this texture. This part, this is basically an exact replica of the skirt. I didn't count. The picture's not detailed enough for me to do that, but it's very similar to that. Even if it is knitted, it's something like there's a series of stitches, then a space, and a series of stitches and a space equally all the way around. And then once you get to the bottom of the skirt part, which should be mid-thigh, I think. I'll have to double check. Then you sort of try to make it into those like puffy hems, and I'm going to use linen stitch, I think, and then a scalloped edge around to finish it. But again, I'm going to try it on, and if it's too tight, I'm not going to bother. I'll just frog it, and then we'll deal with it. So this so far has taken 1 and about a half balls of the two, or it's a pair. There, I believe that the line is called It's a Pair Loops and Threads. It is a sock yarn. It's viscose, acrylic, and something else. There's 3 ingredients, nylon maybe. So it's not scratchy at all, but it is a sock style yarn. I've never used it before, but I like how this is turning out, and it is totally within my favorite sort of color. It's like that, like this is technically orange. I know it's brown, but it's got turquoise and green, and it's like that muted rainbow colors. I mean, I love it. So I hope it turns out well. And I also hope by next week I have a good amount more done. So this has taken me 3 days to do this because, again, there's been lots of frogging, there's been lots of trying on, there's lots of measuring, all of that fun stuff. So that is that. That is what I am working on right now. Patterns. I have been working on this blanket, oh goodness, some time. I started in the summer. It is for our trailer. I am using the value brand Michael's wool that is really, really, really inexpensive. It does not lend itself to being frogged a whole lot, so I'm not sure how many washes it's going to be able to have before it's really decrepit, but who knows, it might surprise me once it's crocheted up. The pattern that I am currently using is the Daisy Farms Craft Herringbone half double crochet blanket. I believe that's the name. Again, all of these things will be linked in the description box below with their correct titles, where they're from, all of that stuff, should I be able to find it. So this is my progress so far. I guess I've done more than I thought. That's that. And these colors, actually, I am so fortunate that I was able to find them. They are the exact colors that are in our trailer. Her name is Estelle, by the way. I will link Estelle in the comments. Below. Sorry, I can hardly talk today. But I was so excited when I was able to find these, and they go together really well. So Estelle's colors are these like bright white, this turquoisey teal color, and then this like dark mustard. This one's called Curry, this one's called Arctic, and this one's just called White. But I was so excited to find them because they match so well. And the only thing that isn't in here is gray. And I can't remember if this one has a border now off the top of my head. But if it does, I will look for gray. But if it doesn't, I think it would be perfectly fine if it didn't have a border on it. But I wanted to give this pattern a review. I am using the free version that, has ads and all of that stuff off of the website, which is totally fine. I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. And the pattern is really easy to follow. I had never done a herringbone half double crochet stitch before, and I felt that the instructions were pretty clear and that I understood them really well, and I like how it turns out, and it's working up really, really well. But like most blankets I undertake, it's taking a long time. That's not the fault of the pattern, though. That is the fault of me, I guess. I didn't follow exactly the number of stitches across. I always kind of eyeball it, and I am a big proponent of using measuring tape to figure out how big something is, because I also don't swatch things very often for gauge, and so that can lead to problems definitely when you're making clothing. But for a blanket, to me, it's not as big of a deal, or a scarf or something like that. If it's a little bit long or it's a little bit quote unquote off, as long as the proportions are right. So this one, it lent itself well to sort of making up widths as far as you go. And actually, if someone wanted to make, it would make a long scarf, but if you wanted to make a longer scarf and maybe take a couple of the end pieces out, like the end series of colors out, I think it would make a really beautiful scarf too. And so instead of, having it 200 stitches wide, you'd have it, 20. So I would highly recommend this, especially if you've never made a blanket before and you are comfortable with crochet stuff, because you will need to know a little bit. You'll have to understand what a half double crochet is and a chain and things like that. So, but I would say this is advanced beginner friendly for sure. Highly recommend it. Check it out in the comments. It's really fun. So like all good knitters and crocheters, I visited the yarn store recently. When do I don't? Yes, I purchased ones like that from Michael's. But there's also the sweetest little yarn store, and I'll give them some love in the description box below. But I was able to purchase these two, and I would like to make some sort of long-ish gauntlets, like that are up to here and then down to about here on my arm, to go inside my coat and just to protect the part of my hand that will touch the steering wheel when I'm driving for the winter. I don't always want mitts because my hands will get hot. And the thing I like about these is I can fold them and push them and all of that fun stuff. So this is actually wool, I'm pretty sure. It says Universal Yarn Odette. I am not familiar with really purchasing ones like these. I don't know anything about brands. I don't know anything like this. I also usually have a lot of trouble unwinding these because I don't have a winder. I'll undo them and I put them around my knees, and then I make them into a ball going like this. It's a lot of fun. So these were on sale, but I like the color. It's a nice It's leaning toward grayish, but not quite there. But it's a really pretty gray color. I really like gray. So it is fine merino, nylon, and alpaca. So it is very, very soft. And I don't have anything to show you whipped up with it yet. But I liked that, oops. This is something that you have to inspect sort of yourself when you get a yarn like this. But I found this very interesting because it's not twisted in strands like I'm used to seeing. It's actually like, it's sort of like it sounds very odd, but just bear with me. It's sort of like pre-crocheted. So it's like, it's very, very fine and someone has crocheted. It looks like somebody crocheted this with a 5mm hook and then they took that and wound it into this. So I am excited to, maybe Odette is the color. I am excited to make the things with these, the gauntlets, because they'll go with my winter coats and everything like that. They're just really pretty. This is unfortunately hand wash and lay dry because of the wool content, whereas something that's acrylic, you can throw it in a wash, you can throw it in the dryer, you don't have to really do a whole lot special to it, and all of that fun stuff. So, oh, it's called Winter Wheat. That's the color. Oh, I hope I got the same dye lot. I didn't even check. Okay, I did. Good. The color is 109. The dye lot is 79.89, and it says, yes, Winter Wheat. So I will report back, and if I like this yarn, I'm going to go and seek them out, and hopefully the yarn store has more, because, I mean, again, if I like it, I would love to support this brand. It's really pretty. There are some, oh gosh, I want to say Ancient. The brand name is Ancient something. They always have these really beautiful, incredible skeins that they have, and I love going to the yarn store to look at them for the same reason I love going to Mountain Equipment Co-op and looking at the Nalgene bottles. They are so beautiful, lined up on the wall, and I just want to rub my face on them, but I don't, because hello COVID. But I don't have any projects for them. See, that's the problem, is those ones are typically pretty spendy. Granted, they're usually made of alpaca, they're made of wool, there's one that's camel hair. They have the most beautiful colors, the most beautiful dye jobs, and I understand, like, that is somebody's business, that's somebody's hands that makes them. It's not made like these are. It's, you know, it's a human being that is spending their time and love and energy hand mixing dyes. Like, I understand why they're expensive, but it doesn't stop me from loving them, but it does prevent me from purchasing them fairly often, because I want to make sure I have a really, really, really great project for them. And unfortunately, I don't have that right now, or I have something in mind that I need a plain color for, because while I love those yarns, I'm not ready to wear a jacket or a sweater made of that. Like, I love really loud toques, and I love really loud mitts and scarves and triangle scarves, obviously. But in terms of a cardigan, like, you can see, like, I love plain. I love gray. Like, a lot of my clothes are really, really plain, and I like my accessories to be the thing that's like, wow. So it's hard. Yeah, I see them and I'm like, oh, that would make a great cardigan, but I would never wear it, so it's a waste, honestly. So if you have some ideas of something that's fun that I could use those beautiful skeins for, please let me know in the comment box below. Thank you so much for joining me today for my inaugural episode. Next week, I will hope to show you progress on something that I've made, and I'm going to look for some great beginner-friendly projects that you could also partake in, and I would love to see all of that stuff. Thank you so much for joining me today on Crochet, a Canadian crochet podcast. Click the like, click the subscribe, and click the bell to get notified for the next time I upload an episode. Thank you so much. Goodbye.